Yes.
Very, very much so.
I mean, we played the Big Day Out Festival 3 years ago. We did New Zealand and we did the Australian run. We were on at like 11 AM, 11:30 in the morning. And I remember being on the stage that wasn't covered and the sun was beating down so hard and so hot that our feet were starting to overheat and all of us had to pour water to relieve ourselves of it. But yesterday was not as bad as that in comparison. Yes.
We did quite a good exploring day yesterday. We thought it was kind of like the right sort of setup for, you can get to all the stages quite quickly. So we ended up staying until pretty much the end of the night, right?
Yeah. We saw a lot of extra stuff actually. So most of Arcade Fire, saw a bit of like Flosstradamus, Snoop Dogg, Deftones. Ghosts are pretty interesting as well.
That was very, very interesting. Tame Impala have been starting, back to back with us as well, and it's been really enjoyable watching them play. Yeah, it's been a pretty cool lineup of people to watch.
We do have another 5 shows on this tour, so whatever we didn't see, we'll have a couple of options to do later on.
Always, and like festivals are always quite an interesting one to to put a set together for, because it's very different to when you're doing your own headline tour and you've got your own audience and you can maybe push the limits a little bit more, whereas with a festival you just need to cater to perhaps a wider audience. Consider that there's some people that may not know that many of your songs, and so you're always just kind of keeping an eye on how the crowd is reacting to your set and whether you want to change it around a little bit for the next time you do it. Yeah, but I mean, so far for these first 2 shows, it's been a really awesome response.
I feel like one of the real tests was a few months back. Rolling Waves came out in September, and shortly after that we did like a 2.5 month stint doing North America, UK and Europe, and we got to really see how people reacted to the new material. And so far it's been really great. Everyone's really receptive. People have listened to the album, but I feel like as the year goes on, people have the opportunity to live with it more and to really connect with it and listen to it. And so I'm just really excited to just get that forward motion. And so far so good.
It's definitely been like kind of snowballing, eh? Like
yeah.
To start with, you could kind of tell with the new songs in the set, people weren't as familiar, and then by the end of the US tour, 3 weeks down the track, when it had just had basically an extra month of being on the shelf, suddenly people started to sing along with the words and all that sort of thing. It's like cool.
Yes, I feel like
Coffee delivery.
a little coffee delivery. It has to be aggressive view. I feel like it. A lot of artists say you've got your whole life to write your first album, and I really feel like that was the case for us. And we were all kind of just figuring our way out in the studio, figuring out how we wanted to play. I mean, I wasn't a very confident vocalist, so I was learning a lot of things about my capabilities. But on Rolling Waves, everyone's a lot more self-assured, and there was more of like an old school rock and roll approach to recording, where everyone would be ambitious to get like the perfect take, and there wouldn't be a lot of fiddling around with recordings to perfect them. So I think we're more seasoned on Rolling Waves in regards to the recording performances.
I think that there was quite a few things. I mean, that in Rolling Waves it wasn't all done one quick go at one specific time. Like the album had basically started in its core towards the beginning of the Passively Aggressive U touring, which was like basically the beginning of 2011. So there was almost like a year of built up demos and stuff coming together prior to us even getting off the tour to our first album, and all the influences throughout that year or so of us touring and learning to become live musicians and seeing favourite bands at festivals and watching how they're doing things, and all these little things were kind of gathering throughout that year or so. And then when we stopped that tour cycle and started the new record in, halfway through 2012, I guess.
Yeah.
It was then like a really consolidated writing time 6 months straight or whatever it was.
I mean, I really felt the difference because basically, you know, we hadn't written any new music since 2010, which is like as the recipe came out. So I felt like we didn't really have a lot of time to write this album, but it was a real challenge. It was a year and a half. We gave ourselves a year and a half to make this record, and I think that we did the best possible job that we could. No regrets.
The four of us boys actually went to a really good high school for music. They had a really good music department.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say?
I don't know what you. we had a pretty good music school or music school department.
Yeah.
Where they had like Aaron would be there in like the MIDI labs doing all you're doing like Logic and Pro Tools and stuff.
Yeah. It seems kind of odd for a high school to have a classroom or a department dedicated to like music technology and actually recording and that sort of thing. Like generally you don't really get into that stuff until, well, I don't know, until you get more serious into it post high school.
It's pretty advanced. I never had that. I never had that opportunity to learn about anything like that.
I got in trouble though because I used to hang out in that MIDI room way too much, and I would always have teachers going, "Aaron, why aren't you in English right now? Aaron, you should be in maths right now."
Yeah.
I think I stacked up the most latenesses for my form that year. It's quite an impressive achievement that's my high school achievement.
I feel like I was quite rebellious in high school because I would always be trying to sneak into gigs that were R18 and going to punk shows, and I'm glad I did that. I'm very passionate about music, and I can identify that in my niece now who's 16. Just be a teenager, just try and break into the shows, just have a good time. Yeah.